Hello everyone, Randolf here. There have been plenty of silent protagonists throughout gaming history for one reason or another. One of the best is Link from the Legend of Zelda series. And why not? He's pure, heroic, and of course courageous. He's a perfect example of how to make a silent protagonist continue to work. Throughout the series, there have been plenty of individuals that have the spirit of the hero within them to save the world, and now I'm going to count down my top 5 best. Why make a list like this? Well, there's been a ton of Zelda-related countdowns, including best songs, best villains and bosses, best oh my god what the fuck moments, but this is a list that hasn't appeared so far. They honor the hero that transcends generations to stop evil. And why not? There are plenty of Links that have aspects to them that help them stand out from the others, whether it's personality bits, accomplishments, or the like. Now I have a few rules for this. First, the 5 has to be from any Zelda games I've played, which is a good chunk of them. Second, I had to at least play one game that a Link from multiple games appeared in order for them to get on the list. And last, only Links from the main games, so no spin-off games, crossovers like Soul Calibur 2 or the Super Smash Bros. Series, and nothing from any other sources like the cartoons, comics, manga, and so on. Only from the games that are on the official timeline. Also, on a side note, I may screw up when trying to pronounce some names of either some characters or some lands from some of the Zelda games. It's kind of hard to pronounce some names that you really don't hear from the series because, well, no one talks vocally. And it's kind of odd sounding names anyway, so I apologize if I pronounce some names wrong or say them incorrectly. With all that in mind, let's get started with this top whatever list. Here's the top 5 Links from The Legend of Zelda. Number 5. The Link from A Link to the Past, Oracle of Ages, Oracle of Seasons, and Link's Awakening. Starting off with the one that starred in the most Zelda games so far. This Link has plenty to work with. Being the first in the Decline timeline, he started as a simple nephew of a former knight, but after hearing the telepathic cries from the Zelda of this time, he jumps out of bed and starts his journey with the death of his uncle and a simple mission: save Zelda. Throughout A Link to the Past, he goes through dungeon after dungeon, gaining the pendants, pulling out the Master Sword, and saving the maidens one by one in the Dark World. He ends up defeating the evil Ganon and rescuing Zelda. He continues his quest throughout other lands, searching for more evil within the world. While on the 2 islands, Haludrum and Labryan, he ends up rescuing Dint and Naru from Oxux and Viran, only to battle a revived but mindless Ganon. On his way back home, his journey is near its end when his ship crashes and he ends up in a new island called Koholint. Only that it's a dream, and in order to leave he has to wake the Windfish by collecting the 8 instruments of the Sirens. His journey ends with him sailing back to Hyrule to live in a world rid of evil. For now. Once again, one reason I like him is because of the fact that he has the most adventures out of the other Links so far. Plus, the battle with Nightmare in Link's Awakening is a great end to his arc, having him face off with shadows of bosses he defeated throughout his journeys, including Ganon and Aghronim. Also, there might be another game with him. Wow, with the many Links that have only one game in this series, the one with 4 so far, 3 if you count Oracle of Ages and Seasons as one game, he gets another one? Wow, that's saying a lot right there. Number 4. The Link from the original Legend of Zelda and Zelda 2, The Adventure of Link. Of course we can't have a list like this without the original. Well, overall original, but I digress. The second and so far last Link in the Decline timeline, this one is pretty simple. He started out as a boy wandering through the land of Hyrule only to help out Impa, Zelda's nursemaid. She tells Link about how Zelda scattered the Triforce of Wisdom into 8 pieces before her capture, and it is up to him to gain them and defeat Ganon. With only a shield and a sword given to him in a cave, he ventures out on his quest, getting stronger and obtaining better weapons on the way, including the magical sword and silver arrow to defeat his enemies on the way and Ganon. With Ganon defeated and the Triforce of Power and Wisdom in safe hands, Hyrule is saved. But his adventure isn't over yet. A few years after Ganon's defeat, Impa tells the near-adult Link about the Zelda that has been asleep for generations after he discovers the Triforce on the back of his hand, and sends him out to find the Triforce of Courage, the last piece so that he can awaken this Zelda from the slumber. Following is the encounters with many civilians, some stranger than others, and the defeat of many opponents, including a dark version of him. In the end, he succeeds and uses the power of the United Triforce to awaken the sleeping Zelda. And they all live happy ever after. How nice. Besides that he is the first in the series, he shows that he is willing to help out others and save the world, without any mention that he is destined to, mostly shown by him driving off Ganon's minions from Impa at the start of his adventure. The fight with his shadow is also wonderful, displaying how much he has grown and as a test to see if he can defeat himself. This Link chose to follow the words of a random old lady, and it led him to unite the ultimate source of power in the land and to save 2 Zeldas. Wonderful. Number 3. The Link from Skyward Sword. Next is the first Link chronologically in the series, and this one is a bit of a doozy. Well, this Link lives up in the land above the clouds called Skyward, where he is training to become a knight. He has a childhood friend, which is the Zelda in this era, which reminds me of a female friend love interest in a school life anime sort of thing. And he even has a bully named Groose, the guy who picks up the same hair gel as Johnny Bravo. So yeah, this Link's life is pretty much like an anime until a tragedy strikes. Zelda gets hit by a mysterious tornado and falls down past the clouds, with Link only getting knocked out. When he wakes up, a blue spirit lures him towards the statue of the goddess, where he learns that the spirit is named Fi. Zelda is still alive and that he is the chosen hero of the goddess. He then pulls the goddess sword from its pedestal to accept his destiny. The next day, after equipping himself with the Green Knight's uniform, he descends onto the surface world on his quest to find Zelda, helped by Fi and a mysterious old woman. He soon finds out that this was the demon lord Giraham who caused Zelda to fall down onto the surface in order to revive his master, Demise, raising the stakes of his quest. Soon the journey becomes an adventure not just to find Zelda, but to save the world from the resurrection of the Demon King, leading him to trials to strengthen the goddess sword, learn the song of the hero, meet new creatures, and to gain the Triforce in order to defeat Demise and Giraham. One of the good aspects of this Link is that he is pretty damn determined to save Zelda, willing to go through all of this crap that happens in his journey, and the many times he has to prove his worth. Seriously, he proves his worth multiple times, for the Sacred Flames, for the momentarily useful attack while you're on your bird, and the few more times for the Song of the Hero. Well, it's kind of fitting since he is the first, but still, holy crap. Also, there's a progression of him getting stronger throughout his adventure. In the beginning, he could barely handle a few enemies, but by the end he was mowing them down one by one with ease, leading up to the end of Giraham and Demise. Another thing is the sense of a personality with him. Just how he reacts to many things, like his first reaction to Giraham or seeing Zelda seal herself up, these are wonderful. It brings a sense of you're playing this guy through his journey, not just sending him here and there. Also, the little tidbits of shaping him up in a certain way during some cutscenes is pretty nice too. Even can make him a little bit of a dick. Those who played the game and did the Ghost Hand mission knows exactly what I mean. Overall, pretty sweet. Next. Number 2. The Link from Ocarina of Time and Majora's Mask. And now the Link everyone is pretty familiar with. His story begins with him waking up in his treehouse by his new companion, Navi. Navi tells him that he has been summoned by the Great Deku Tree, who speaks of him of an evil rising and that it's up to Link to defeat it. With this, the Great Deku Tree gives Link the Kokiri's Emerald after a test of his courage, and he is off on a quest to go to this era Zelda. Once at Castletown, our young hero has to sneak his way into the courtyard to meet with Zelda, who explains more of his quest, that she sensed evil within Ganondorf, the king of the Gerudos, and that he plans to rule Hyrule and obtain the Triforce by gaining the 3 spiritual stones and the mythical Ocarina of Time. Zelda gives Link a mission to track the last 2 stones in order to end Ganondorf's plan. Throughout his quest, Link meets new creatures like the Gorons and the Zoras, who give him the last 2 stones after dealing with their problems, i.e. saving the Zora Princess Ruto and the Gorons from starvation. When he returns to Castletown, Zelda and her caretaker, Impa, are fleeing by horseback, being chased by Ganondorf. With this, Zelda throws the Ocarina of Time towards Link. Link then uses the 3 stones and the Ocarina to open the Temple of Time, revealing the Master Sword. He pulls it out from its pedestal, sending him into a 7-year-long sleep. Once he awakens, a sage informs the now adult Link of what happened. Ganondorf has crossed into the Sacred Realm and has taken over the land of Hyrule with the Triforce of Power. He is given the Light Medallion and a new task, to go back and forth within time to free the other sages and gain their power via the medallions. He succeeds and then uses the power of the sages to travel into Ganondorf's tower to put an end to this once and for all. The two have a fight at the top where he defeats him, only for the fortress to crumble and have Ganondorf rely on the power of his piece of the Triforce, transforming him into the monster Ganon. During the final fight, Link gives Ganon the finishing blow and the sages seal him within the Sacred Realms. Zelda instructs Link to return the Master Sword and sends him back in time via the Ocarina of Time to relive his childhood. Oh boy! Well, that adventure starts with Link riding on his horse, Epona, in the Lost Woods searching for Navi, who left after returning to the past. His personal quest to find his friend is interrupted by the Skull Kid and his 2 fairies, Tattle and Tail, get it, by stealing Epona and the Ocarina of Time, then transforming him into a Deku shrub. Link then follows the Skull Kid into the parallel world of Termina and is met up with the Happy Mask Salesman, who bargains that if he gets what's precious to him, he will help revert Link back to normal. But he has to hurry since he's leaving in 3 days. On the end of the 3rd day, Link finds the Skull Kid, whom shows that his intent is to destroy Termina by crashing the moon into Clock Town. Link retrieves the Ocarina and plays the Song of Time, sending him back to the first day he stepped into this new world. He goes back to the Happy Mask Salesman, who is true to his word and reverts Link back to normal, but is desperate to want the young hero to retrieve the mask the Skull Kid wears, called Majora.
With this, Link travels through the land, gaining mass with so much power and waking up the 4 giants to save the world from the Skull Kid and the evil Mask of Majora. Wow, thank you, Zelda. With all of that, he's number 2 for many reasons. 1. He's determined to save 2 worlds from 2 hellish evils, Ganondorf and Majora / Skull Kid, and shows a bit of loyalty to his friends, hence his personal quest to find Navi after Ocarina of Time, and at the beginning of Majora's Mask. 2. While he's not well developed in Link standards, he does show some other signs of some personality, mainly in Ocarina of Time. 3. He's the reason why we have a split timeline in the first place. Well, Zelda is, but still, and he has a lasting impression and legacy throughout. But like I said, he's not well developed in the games, being mostly the hero by destiny thing, so why him over the last 3? Well, there is one last aspect that makes me love this one so much, and that is the hero spirit from Twilight Princess. For those who don't know, the hero spirit is this Link after the events of Majora's Mask. He is filled with regrets from being unable to pass the lessons of his life to those who came after him, but with the Link in Twilight Princess, he was able to ease his regrets by teaching that Link the hidden skills and shared his knowledge. This shows how in depth he is after his adventures, plus it's one of the only few times I know of that shows what happens to a Link after his time, and the only time one Link interacts with another, technically. That's really awesome. We see this Link go from childhood to adulthood, traveling throughout time into a parallel world to save them. What's better than that? And my number 1 Link is the Link from the Wind Waker in Phantom Hourglass. Yes, this is my favorite Link out of all of them. His journey starts with him, of course, waking up by his sister. Sensing a pattern here? Well, it turns out that it's his birthday and he has come of age to dress up in the hero's clothes, as a tradition to the island he, his sister, and his grandma live on, Upset Island. Everything is fine until he spots a giant bird carrying a little girl, whom he rushes to help out when the bird drops her. Turns out she is the captain of a band of pirates named Tetra. But upon leaving, the bird comes back and kidnaps his sister instead, causing him to leave his home with the pirates in order to save her at the Forsaken Fortress. He is able to infiltrate the fortress, reaching the cell where his sister is being kept, but the giant bird catches him and hurls him into the sea at the command of its master. He is recovered by a talking boat, the king of Red Lions, and is told the story behind the bird's master, turning out to be Ganondorf after being freed from his seal after the events of Ocarina of Time. With this, Link accepts that he has to go through many trials to gain a power to save his sister. This leads him through a journey across the Great Sea, meeting many creatures, of course, and gaining the 3 pearls to gain access to the final trials in the Tower of the Gods. He succeeds and is taken on the water where Hyrule remains and gains the Master Sword. He returns to the Forsaken Forest, saves his sister, and defeats the giant bird. Only to find out that he cannot defeat Ganondorf since the Master Sword is not as powerful as it was since Ocarina of Time. Tetra comes to the rescue, but it turns out that she has the Triforce of Wisdom, and after escaping Ganondorf, it turns out that she is, in fact, this era's Zelda. Link then has to move out to awaken the 2 sages that gave the Master Sword its power, and to obtain the Triforce of Courage from the depths of the Great Sea. He succeeds and returns to the underwater world of Hyrule, only to find out Zelda has been kidnapped by Ganondorf. So Link, to end this once and for all, has to go through Ganon's tower, where he, with the assistance of the King and Tetra/Zelda, foil Ganondorf's plan and defeat him, leaving him and the Master Sword within the now completely flooded Hyrule. Thus, Tetra and Link return to the surface and head off to find a new world. Upon finding a new boat, Tetra jumps into it, but disappears. Link tries to follow, but ends up adrift in the ocean, being helped by a fairy named Kleela and a man named Oshus. They both help him find the ghost ship and reunite with Tetra. This leads him on a quest throughout this new area of the ocean, needing to forge the Phantom Sword in order to defeat a new era, Belon. Overall, he succeeds and finds himself back on the pirate ship with Tetra to continue their journey to find a new world. Okay, so why is this Link my favorite? Well, the reason is everything I stated about the others and then some. And I'm going by Wind Waker alone for this, to be honest. The story starts with him donning the hero's clothes, which young boys on his island wear at a certain age to honor the hero of time. To me, that's what this adventure is, him slowly transforming it into the same stature of the hero they honor, being called the Hero of Winds, or by Ganondorf, the Hero of Time Reborn. His determination to save his sister is pretty damn good too, much like Skyward Sword's Link to save Zelda, or even Ocarina of Time's Link to save the world, whom, as a kid, drew his sword out when confronted by Ganondorf. And this Link does that too, drawing his sword and charging at the bird when it first took his sister. But overall, to me, his personality is one of the things that you can take out of in this game. Pretty much like in Skyward Sword, but way better. Just the expressions he gives shows a real understanding of what he's feeling. A true example of show, don't tell with characters. I really think that the expressions help give the game a personality also. It's pretty epic and can be a bit dark at times. But it can be pretty funny and humorous, mostly by some antics of Link himself. Even in Phantom Hourglass too, from what I've seen in videos. All this and more is the reason why the Link from the Wind Waker and Phantom Hourglass is my favorite Link of all time.
And that's my top whatever list of my favorite Links from the Legend of Zelda series. I hope you enjoyed it, and if you agree or disagree, or have your own favorite Link, feel free to leave a comment. Otherwise, thanks for watching, see you next time.